You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/builtforus to get started.
Precisa ferir a pressão, medir a glicemia ou tomar uma vacina? Na Drogasil tem exames, testes e calendário vacinal completo. E o que é melhor, tem sempre uma Drogasil aí perto de você. É fácil, prático e rápido. Dá para ir entre uma música e outra. Procure nossos farmacêuticos. Quanto mais você conhece o que a gente faz na Drogasil, mais você se cuida.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us, 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim live in Green Bay. We got Jacob the Beard in the house for this special edition of PTA. We're live on Rumble. We're live on X. We're live on YouTube. Out here to talk a little joint practice from the Packers and the Broncos today as the guys are getting ready to get cranked up here. So what we're going to do, we're going to be diving into some live tweets from several people. We got 6 or 7 beat reporters from the Packers and the Broncos, and I imagine Wes Hawkowitz will crush it as he always does. But we're going to be giving you guys that live information as it comes in, the one-on-one drills, all that good stuff. We may go a little long, so guys, if you need to hop off here, it's totally cool. I'd like to take it through most of the practice, but probably won't go beyond 12:30 your all's time. So we may go an hour and a half and kind of cap it there. So we've got an article from Bill Huber with his latest 53-man roster. We've been trying to get to it for several days here, so we may dive into that a touch. Before we get started, I'll go ahead and start combing through Twitter here. I want to ask your all's opinion, and y'all have a little conversation here. What are you looking forward to the most as far as updates out of a joint practice like this? Because the cool thing about this joint practice, let me just say this too. Some people go, it's practice. Is it more important than a preseason game? Absolutely it is. And the reason being is when you get into a preseason game, sometimes what happens is you don't get the situations that you want. You'll get these kind of vanilla situations and you're not really getting a whole lot of work in. What the coaches can do in these joint practices, they can set up specific situations. And what I mean by that is on a coach's play call sheet, you've got, first and 10, you've got second and long, second and medium, second and short. You've got third and long, third and medium, third and short. And you got your fourth and shorts, right? So you can set up those specific situations. Like if you want to work on your third and long play call, like a 3rd and 7+, then you can really hammer that home drill after drill after drill, right? If you want to set up a trip set and go, okay, let the other team know, they probably got together as a coaching staff and said, what would you like to work on? Hey, we really need to work on our nickel sets. We struggle against bunch. We struggle against trips. Maybe they struggle against 12, whatever it is. Okay, cool. We'll set us up a sequence, a series where we'll work on those specific personnel and get those people on the field. So that's why it's more important than a preseason game. I'll just say that. But you guys, whatever you want to talk about here, whether it's specific camp battles, what you're looking forward to seeing today, you have the floor. I'm going to go ahead and start coming through Twitter here.
I think I'm looking forward to the piss being hot. I think that's what's going to happen today. It's a joint practice. And I say that with a little trepidation, hey, hopefully everything stays, doesn't boil over. I was at the joint practice with the Patriots last year, and at that preseason game, we all remember what happened that week. So hopefully, it's not too chippy, but, the intensity level is increasing. I don't care which organization you're with right now. We're at that point of the year. And I guess with that being said, I would say the thing I'm most looking forward to is the dynamic between Emmanuel Wilson and the rest of that Denver Broncos team there. It's going to be interesting to see how, things pan out there. I know he's going to want to kind of show up and show out a little bit, and I'm sure he's going to get a lot of reps with the ones at practice. So that's something that I'm looking forward to checking some updates on that.
Nice. Go ahead, Jacob.
Tim, is that because correct me if I'm wrong, did Emmanuel Wilson play for Denver? Wasn't he cut by them, which is why he is gracing us in the Green Bay. Okay, that makes sense then.
I don't know how big the chip. I don't know how big the chip on his shoulder is, or if there is one at all. But it's definitely something to kind of keep an eye on.
Oh yeah, for sure. Our own Jake Shavink in the chat says the over/under on 1.5 interceptions for the defense against specifically Bo Nix. Boy, I think I'd go over on that. What do you guys think?
I would take the over.
Yeah, I mean, with it being practice, absolutely, right? Because they're going to kind of stretch things out a bit. Now, you guys know I've been pretty vocal. Bo Nix was one of, if not my favorite quarterbacks in this last draft year. And the reason being is just hearing him talk with Greg Cosell and how he sees the game. It's one thing to see the game a certain way, but when you can communicate what you're seeing, whether it's on the practice field or in true game reps, and you can communicate it to two strangers that you've never talked ball with and be so comfortable in that setting, it really impressed the hell out of me. I think he can make every throw on the field. And the fact that the Broncos, and more specifically Sean Payton, chose him as kind of, hey, this is going to be our guy this year. Now, that's not to say that he would take Bo Nix over Caleb Williams. We all know that wouldn't have happened, right? Or even Jaden Daniels. But Bo Nix, I think, is a good quarterback. But in practice, yeah, I'm definitely taking the over because I think they're going to be out there. That's what it's for, guys, is to try to push the envelope. What can we get away with? Can we hammer that seam route? Do we have that specific possession receiver or tight end that can body a defender and make that play if we want to hammer that base in a cover 2 or whatever it may be? Those are the things you're really trying to test out, right? So I would take the over for sure. Parker Gabriel, who covers the Denver Broncos, tweeted this picture out, along with Matt Schneiden tweeted one out very similar, said, Packers head coach Matt LaFleur speaking before practice. The team had dinner at Shanahan's last night. LaFleur worked for Mike Shanahan early in his career, so he's kind of going out there, shaking hands, kissing babies, and meeting with old friends and old establishment. That's really, really cool stuff there. Obviously, he's referring to Mike Shanahan, who most Packer fans hate, and rightfully so, from that Super Bowl that got away, right? The one that the Packers were favorite in. We
don't have to hate Mike Shanahan for that.
John freaking Elway.
Yeah, we can hate Elway.
I was going to say Terrell Davis. Yeah, we can hate Terrell Davis for that one.
The guy was basically blind for the second half of the game, and he's still somehow
talk about a human meat missile, right?
That's
there you go, Jacob.
Like Coach Madden used to say, the criteria of greatness is, can you tell the story of the topic you're talking about without mentioning someone's name?
Okay.
And when you're telling the story of football, you have got to tell the story of Terrell Davis going to the sideline and saying, Coach, I can't see anything. He's like, don't worry about it. You ain't got to see. You just got to be in there for them to think you're getting the ball. Like that's whether you're a Packer fan or not. Pretty damn cool story for sure.
Did you guys talk about Nicolas Cage as John Madden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I think.
You're not excited about this, Jacob? Nicolas Cage looks just like John Madden.
If Nicolas Cage could eat John Madden, then he'd look like John Madden. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I was telling Tim last night, we talked about it briefly. It's odd, right? It's an odd choice. But watch him just absolutely crush it. Like, it would be hilarious if we come away with this going, I'll be damned. He acted just like John Madden.
I was trying to think, what other actor do you think could just more fit the role? I couldn't think of one.
Frank Caliendo.
Frank Caliendo. I mean, honestly, though, I'm trying to think. I thought like Jeff Bridges, but I thought, no, he couldn't get the voice down. And then I thought, I don't know, man.
Jacob, I said last night, I have a feeling that they brought Nick Cage into that project to play like, 20 to 30 or 40-year-old John Madden. And then maybe there'll be another actor for the later part of John Madden's life in the movie, That's the only thing I can think of. But he runs with it the whole way. I shout out to the makeup department at whoever's doing that.
All I can picture is him be like, we're going to win the Super Bowl. It's like, all right.
Matt Schneiden just tweeted out, pretty distinguishable go Pack go chants from the crowd at joint practice this morning as the Packers take the field. How about that? Ooh. Packer fans traveling well in Denver to support the Packers in a joint practice.
Hey, they're not all traveling too. There are some Rocky Mountain Packer fans out there. Shout out to everybody
large
in Colorado that are Packer fans.
I got to get out to Denver, man. That's on my bucket list. I want to go to Aspen too. I want to go to some of those. You ever watch the Hallmark Channel, fellas?
Yeah, once a year during Christmas.
Hey, it's okay. Listen, Jacob, don't hold on to that man card too hard. It ain't a big deal. All right. I always tell people I hate the Hallmark Channel, but every time Mandy's got it on during the holidays, if you walk in the room, there's a Hallmark movie on, you can't help but leave the room in a better mood. It just always happens.
No, but the thing is, you get mad. You hate watch it. I used to live with family members, and they would play the Hallmark Channel constantly. And if you like film or cinema, you would sit there and you'd be like, "This is so bad. I can't stop watching." Like, how? Why would you say it? Who's writing this? Why would they do that? Why did they make the cut? And
It's
then all
the
of a sudden,
same
you're like, "I've been
story
watching
every
this
movie
for 45 minutes." Yeah, and you're like, "Why am I still here?"
Out there drinking, sipping your drink with your pinky out, watching it. Going, I don't know what happened.
Hey, did you see Prince's comment in the chat?
I love it. Read it, Tim.
That's
Hit
what
it.
I thought.
Oh, brilliant. John Goodman to play John Madden.
That would be
Sign
good.
it up.
That's
No.
good.
As if he couldn't have a more legendary performance than playing Babe Ruth in a movie. Yeah, why not play John Madden real quick here later in your
That's
career?
brilliant.
I love that. Prince
Exactly.
Prince for casting director for the film.
Yeah, I like it. I think that would be a great choice. I think John Goodman's a great actor too, man. I really do. Let's see here. Peter Gabriel just tweeted this out. Kind of cool. We'll keep the sound down, but you can kind of see the live scene as the Broncos are going through stretches here. So they're getting out there, getting set to go. We'll be getting some updates here in a minute. As things start to roll in, what we're going to do here, I think let's go ahead. Let me double check Wes Hodkowitz real quick, make sure he's not put any important information out. Nope, nothing yet. Okay, so why don't we do this? Why don't we hop over to the Bill Huber article real quick that he wrote a few days ago that was talking about his 53-man roster projection. And this is 3.0, okay? So this was, I think, immediately following the first preseason game. I want to get your all's take on what he says here. We'll just key in on the positions and the numbers attached. If you guys would, take a quick second, hit that like button for us. We got a bunch of people in here. Feel free to share the stream as well. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on this Friday afternoon. A lot of people probably getting fired from their jobs right now. In here,
I was just gonna say, why is there so many people watching today, y'all? Don't you have jobs? Come on,
it's priorities, Jacob. You know what I'm saying, man?
Jeepers.
Listen, the power bill, they'll give you a couple weeks before they cut that sucker off. You ain't got to pay it right away. You know, I've been there. I've been there, done that. Sat in the dark.
They got their priorities together, man. They're joining the Patreon before they're worried about the energy bill, right?
I love the ad too. As soon as we pop this up, it said diarrhea, bloatiness, gas.
I know, dude. I'm trying to see, what is this? What do I need?
Oh, symptom checker. That's what it is. Great sound drop, Tim. All right, quarterbacks. Bill Huber said 3. So this is the second in his previous 53-man roster projection. He had 3 listed again. Bill Huber's plugged in. It's kind of feeling like we're going to carry 3 quarterbacks. Does anybody disagree with that? That would allow Sean Clifford. You protect Michael Pratt from getting signed. Sean Clifford can be your backup this year, and then let Michael Pratt kind of grow into that role. But I'm telling you right now, based off what I've seen in camp and with that first preseason game, very small sample size, I kind of like Pratt's. I kind of like Pratt in a game time situation to go out there and try to get the job done, man. I don't know. There's just something about that kid. But what do you guys think about 3? Are we still stuck on 3 here?
Jacob, go ahead. You go first.
I hope that we keep all 3 of them, just because I don't see a situation where, I don't know. I think maybe we could slip Clifford to the practice squad, but it'd be a big maybe, and I would hate to lose him. I would rather us be short at different positions than be completely, just because of the fact that if we all, God forbid, blah, 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 all the prerequisites, you know what I'm saying? If something were to happen to Jordan Love, I would much rather have 2 quarterbacks that are projects or maybe unmolded clay, or, you know what I mean, have some sort of potential. We don't know that they're definitely an uncapped ceiling. I would definitely rather have 2 of them that are on the team, that have been with the team, that have worked with the team, that have been in the playbook, that are working with the coaches. Because like I said, if anything else happens, your best option then is you sign a random free agent that hasn't even seen our playbook, and it'll take him 6 weeks before you really starting to get it. I mean, I think we got to keep 3. If that means we keep 1 less tight end or 1 less D lineman, 1 less safety, I'd rather that be the most important position I need to be covered on this team.
Got it. Tim, what do you think, man?
I agree 100% with what Jacob just said, but I want 7 receivers on this team. And, I know I'm dreaming with that. But no, in all fairness, no, you're absolutely right, Jacob. You've got to keep these guys. I think Clifford is definitely the guy you're talking about, the guy that's familiar with the system. If, God forbid something happened to Jay Money, you feel pretty good about Sean Clifford going out there and running the offense. Michael Pratt has unlimited potential, extremely high ceiling. You cannot afford to lose a guy like that. So, yeah, I won't get my wish this year. It looks like 6 receivers at best. So for me, but no, I agree totally. Keep all 3, man.
Like it. All right, I agree. I think keep all 3. CJN said it's Friday, Clayton. It feels like a holiday with PTA live show. Love it, man. Love it. Like I said, just protect that job. All right. That's all we ask. Jake Shavink says, with the amount of quarterbacks that have started games the last 2 years, I can't remember what the number was, Jake, but it was insane. It was like it was an ungodly amount of quarterbacks that started across the league, at least one game. He says keep the quarterbacks too. So I'm team keep 3 quarterbacks just because I do not want Michael Pratt to get snatched up, and I'm not sure if he's prepared to be the backup quarterback. Now, I will say this. We're going to get to the running back position here in a second. We've talked about keeping 3 running backs the whole time. Kind of makes me wonder, are they only going to keep 2? Especially if for some reason Marshawn Lloyd starts on the injured reserve. What if they only kept Josh Jacobs and A.J. Dillon and had Marshawn Lloyd on the injured reserve list, temporarily, and then put Emmanuel Wilson back on the practice squad? That's one position I didn't really think about that before. I could see it happening. Something to think about, though. I
would see how this plays out, though, because if Emmanuel Wilson keeps playing the way he has, it's going to be really tough to do that.
Yeah. See, honestly, that's – sorry, I was just going to say, lately, you guys know I've been I've never been a Dillon hater. That's not my thing. But just lately, I don't see what the value is, because if Emmanuel Wilson now has a year with the playbook underneath him, he's got a year of showing us consistently that he outperforms whatever we ask him to do. If it's like a 3rd and 3, he'll get a 7. If it's a 2nd and 1, he gets us like 7. If it's with Dillon, I cannot over explain the fact that he just consistently has underperformed from where he was drafted, from his body composition size, from what we've given him as far as reworking his contract, thinking he's taking team-friendly deals, from knowing that he wants to be in this area. So why would he not be giving it his all? It consistently has just been disappointing, to the point where at what point are you giving a guy a favor by letting him be on the team? And like Tim just said, Emmanuel Wilson has consistently overperformed to a point where I think he deserves a shot. And I really do think that if we do end up, I would say that if we're going to end up trying to sneak somebody on the team, it's going to be by keeping 2 running backs or by 3 tight ends. And I think I'd feel more comfortable with having, if we keep 2 running backs, the 2 are Wilson and Jacobs. That's just my opinion now.
I got you. Yeah, we'll pull it up here. See what Bill Huber had to say here in just a second. Let's go to the chat. Jarrell Lee says, I'm with Tim. Please keep DuBose. That dude is, again, I hate to say it, but most of the time these type of conversations are the decisions made for us with someone being a little banged up, right, by the time the season starts. But if everyone's healthy, I want DuBose on this roster, man. He's just turned so many heads in camp. It's unbelievable. Two-Tone in the chat says, finally caught y'all live. Fire emoji. Appreciate you swinging through. Thank you so much. Glad that you caught it. Well, you caught the mediocrity live here today. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Dennis Shook says, if Evan Williams snaps off again today, he will be our day 1 starter. Hey,
the cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
I'm all about it. I am all about it. I love the idea of Evan Williams playing strong safety in the nickel and Bull playing slot. And then when you go to your base stat, whatever it may be, 15, 20% of the snaps, then take Evan Williams off the field, put Bullard at strong safety, and you know what I mean, kind of rotate that in and out.
Don't forget about our boy Kalen King. There's an option in the slot there, too.
All of a sudden, it's like, we got a little bit of depth at slot. It feels like it anyway, right?
Sure does.
That can change in one game, as you all are well aware if you follow us. One bad game and we're like, crap, we ain't got a slot defender on the damn.
Did y'all listen to Ryan's podcast this morning by chance?
I have not. I've been running like crazy. What did he say?
And I listened to it while I went back to sleep, so I kind of comprehended it and I kind of didn't. But I know for a fact that it was Evan Williams and Javon Bullard, both of them, when you just take out the rookie safeties. Javon Bullard scored number 1 in either run defense or tackling, and then Evan Williams was number 1 overall of any graded safety as far as coverage. And I could have those swapped, but that was basically the gist, is that both of our rookie safeties in one major category or the other were the highest graded performer in the NFL, which is pretty freaking cool. Now, the only thing that was a little bit of a backhanded, I don't know what you want to call it. The other category, both of them scored pretty low. They were like 30th ranked over, like in the opposite of being first ranked, say in coverage, they were like 30th ranked in like run defense or tackling, whatever the case was. But that being said, I think that the way that our defense has been absolutely flying around and being so consciously heavy on getting turnovers, and you've seen it in the way they practice, that I really do think, I mean, Evan Williams, me and Clayton, you guys know how I felt about Bullard since day one. I think you've obviously known too how we felt about Williams, thinking like he's the reason that we came up with the human meat missile phrase, was because we watched him and like all he does is just get shot out of a cannon and just smoke people. But whoever, and that was our fault because whoever threw together that highlight reel just focused on the fact that he was really good.
US Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why US Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from US Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
Opa, escutou esse barulhinho? Mensagem nova no seu WhatsApp. Já reparou que quando chega uma mensagem de um número desconhecido, você é avisado na conversa? Esse é o cartão de contato de primeira mensagem, uma das ferramentas de segurança do WhatsApp para proteger você e suas informações, que conta ainda com confirmação em 2 etapas e a possibilidade de bloquear e denunciar números suspeitos. Aproveite o WhatsApp para enviar mensagens de forma segura para pessoas e empresas. WhatsApp, privacidade para suas mensagens com múltiplas camadas de proteção.
At being shot out of a cannon and hitting a quarterback or stuffing a run or whatever the case was, they didn't show the necessarily better traits to his game, which could be his coverage / just FBI, dude. We talk about a guy that I didn't realize his FBI was as strong as it clearly is.
No, yeah, he reads and reacts so well. I don't know what happened to Tim. That's kind of a weird sit up there. Hopefully he's all right. I've never seen that blue there. Okay, no, if you need it off, you go ahead, Tim. It just popped up blue. Did you see that, Jacob? It's like a blue CD case. I was like, damn, did Tim drop an album? What happened? Like it
Did that happen? What? I didn't see that.
Get rich or die trying? No.
Yeah, anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
album coming soon, guys.
Bars.
12-inch vinyl copies only.
Bars. Dennis Shook in the chat said, Denver's D was tough last year. I want to see how our run game does against them. Amen. And more specifically, A.J. Dillon, man, I'm excited to see A.J. Dillon and Emmanuel Wilson in the game on Sunday for sure. That's what I'm really keying in on. CJN says, no worries, Clayton. I'm still working while listening. LOL, he's working, right? You crush it out there. You be the best employee, CJN. Malik Whitmore, hope I'm saying that correctly. Whitmire, sorry. Big Dillon guy, but at this point, it's got to be Wilson's job. It's just such a tough look on Dillon the other day, man. I slept on it and everything, and I'm trying to not be too overly critical. But man, that comment, for those of you on Twitter, just sit there and watch. It's like, damn, bro, you have changed a little bit, haven't you, my friend?
That was rough.
Sucks. Prince in the chat says DeBose for wide receiver 6. Love it. Ron Sandville says LaFleur says pass pro Jacob. All right. Not sure what that was about. I missed that.
That's probably the argument. Keep Dillon. Yeah.
Oh, pass pro. Okay, gotcha. Good stuff. And then Dennis Shook says Jacob, quote, we came up with,
I think he means that he's trying to put it all on me, that I was the creator of
that was
meat missile.
And I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I thought it was Brenton Cox Jr. that started this whole thing. Are you sure it was Evan Williams?
I don't know.
Well, it's probably Brenton Cox Jr. But Evan Williams was really what personified it, where I was like, yes, there's a typical type of player. And then I saw Bullard and I saw Cooper and I saw Hopper and I went, oh, now this is why we got human meat missiles. That's the whole.
Yeah, we've got a whole fleet in an arsenal of the HMMs.
Cox was the one that started it, though.
Listen, I'm with Dennis Shook here. This is all Jacob. I ain't putting it on anybody else but Jacob. This is him that did this. All right. He is him, as Coach Dion says. He is him. All right. Let's go back to the 53-man roster projection. Let's see what Bill Huber said about the running backs. He's got them keeping 3, Josh Jacobs, A.J. Dillon, Marshawn Lloyd. So he believes they will, at least at this point, it says releasing Emmanuel Wilson. I'm pretty sure you could put him on the practice squad, but I'm not sure exactly how everything's going to fall into place there. So he's saying 3. And again, I said 2 because there was some, I can't remember who was talking the other day. I was listening to a podcast or a live show, and someone had mentioned, don't rule out the possibility of only carrying 2 running backs and being able to stash some of these guys on the practice squad and work them in as the season goes on. I didn't really think of that. So Bill Huber disagrees right now. Moving on to receivers. This is the big topic right here, right, guys? So Bill Huber still has them keeping 6. Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, Dontavion Wicks, Jaden Reed, Bo Melton, Grant DeBose. Nothing changed. He still got them releasing Malik Heath. Isn't it wild that we all went from like Malik Heath is a solid number 6 receiver to now all of a sudden he's just kind of an afterthought, right? Someone will pick him up. I believe that. I heard someone the other day say that they think he'll clear waivers. I think it was Matt Schneidman said he'll clear waivers just fine. I'm like, I don't know about that. But what do you guys think about those 6?
Dude, you can't tell me that there aren't maybe 10 teams that would love Malik Heath.
Yep.
Certain teams are really hurting at like wide receiver 3 plus 4. Anything past that, they have nothing. I mean, you can't tell me the Raiders wouldn't swoop him up, that the Cardinals wouldn't swoop him up, that the Saints wouldn't swoop him up. A lot of teams that are really, they got maybe a great 1, maybe a decent 2, but they got nothing after that. So, and Malik Heath has showed he's a very well-rounded receiver that is confident. He's a little cocky, but he plays. I think he's one of those players that outperforms the way he's cocky, which is saying something because he's pretty cocky. And he's made a couple really clutch plays too, like in the fourth quarter on 4th downs, on 3rd and shorts. When I remember one of them where he caught that slant and he just muscled his way into the end zone after making like a dude basically he decleated this guy by juking him out so hard that he was able to run around him and score the touchdown. I mean, it was just I would exactly the Lions have nothing after wide receiver 2, nothing. The Vikings have nothing after wide receiver 2.
Yeah, it's a good point. Tim?
Oh, Grant DeBose on the team? Come on. Yeah, of course. I mean,
drive home safe.
Do I have to say it again? But, really what this is we're not going to dog on Malik Heath because that was my dude last year in this position. We saw Bo Melton get hurt at training camp. We saw Grant DeBose hurt really early in camp. And Malik Heath stepped up and became the darling of that receiver room and kind of, pushed his way onto this team. And like Jacob just said, played a lot of meaningful football for us and made some clutch plays. And, a lot of the qualities we talk about with Grant DeBose are things that Malik Heath does, run blocking, things like that. So I will say this, though, it is going to be tough to release Malik Heath. And I guess that's, whether he's sent to the practice squad or released outright, he's not going to be in Green Bay if he's not on this roster. I believe he'll get picked up somewhere as a workhorse receiver, maybe a 5 or 6 guy on another depth chart. It's just I don't think it's so much Malik Heath's game falling off or, second year slump or whatever. I think it's just the ascension of Grant DeBose. Hey, this is what we talk about. You got to put your best guys on the roster and on the field. So, if Matt LaFleur says we're keeping 6, then we're keeping 6. And I think this is the 6 that we keep for sure.
Got it. Dennis Shook in the chat said they are more likely to cut Bo than Malik. I could be completely off base here, Dennis, but I respectfully disagree with that. I think they like Bo a lot more than Malik. Do you guys agree with that? Disagree with that? Who do you think they like more, Bo or Malik in that situation?
Bo. I think Bo's protected.
I think they like Bo better, but a few comments came in here. Malik getting cut, Melton a lock after last season for sure. I said before, Respect Orange says Bo performed in season more than Malik, and Bo's speed is a better positive. Yeah. Says Melton needs to get his confidence back, however, and I do agree. He had that game was about as bad of a game that Bo Melton could have had. I think that's the only reason, honestly, why we're talking about maybe DeBose as much as we are, because it looked like there was an opening there. And when you have to decide whether or not you're keeping one of them, it's easier to say, all right, I got to either toss Malik aside versus Bo. But even though I think a lot of us at the bottom of our hearts are like, dude, Bo Melton sucked that game. He dropped that. We forget about, he dropped like 3 balls that game, but he also made a really key mistake under the 2-minute drill of the first half. He caught a ball and could have easily stepped out of bounds to stop the clock, but instead he juked inside and took the tackle, and it probably blew about 10 to 12 seconds off of that play clock that, it was a boneheaded play. That being said, I do think that if there's a Wada pistol to my head region, that I would probably still take Bo and probably let Malik Heath test the market and see if
I think that game that Bo had can be attributed to just a little rust. First live speed, live game action. You talk about, like you said, kind of the absent-minded play there in the 2-minute drill, get out of bounds, don't stay in bounds. You're just not, he's just getting his legs under him. Same thing with the drops. I mean, the thing that was so hard to watch with the drops is they were all catchable, and they were all 2 out of 3 of those drops were pretty much right on the money, and he just couldn't hang on to them. So I think that's just rust. I don't think that's a regression in his game. And I think the fact that if you're comparing directly to Malik Heath, I think you have to give Bo the edge with the speed and also the route running ability. Bo Melton is underrated as a route runner. I mean, I'm not saying he's elite, but I mean, you watch his footwork, you watch his get off on the snap, and it's just, the guy cooks, and I think he's more dynamic of a threat in this Matt LaFleur offense if you're comparing him, heads up to Malik Heath.
Yeah, definitely. Respect Oranges says notable injured players today. I haven't seen anything yet. Respect Oranges, we're kind of keeping an eye on it. Andy Herman is like the go-to guy for that stuff, and he's not out there. He didn't fly out with the team from what I understand. So he's the one who usually does right off the top, hey, here's the guys not participating. Hopefully someone else will pick that up. But we're keeping an eye on Wes Hodkiewicz and Matt Schneidman, who are there in attendance, which is hilarious. Wes Hodkiewicz just tweeted this out, said UW Whitewater legend, Hartford native Quinn Minneris, I hope I'm saying that right, Mineheres, letting the tummy get some sunshine. Look at that. Look at my man right there. You kidding me?
Oh, my gosh.
Like Jacob after a case of Schaefer Light right there. You know what I'm saying? Exactly what that looks like.
They could sell advertising right there on that.
Yes, they could. He needs thug across the tummy like Tupac. No, that's what he needs.
Oh, man.
Jake Shavink says Heath could push Michael Wilson for wide receiver 3 in Arizona for sure. That's kind of been my take, Jake, is whoever does get cut, that number 7 receiver on this roster, I think they could probably be the number 3. Now, it doesn't mean they could play slot, right? And a lot of times that third receiver, that's what that means. So they may be 4th technically on the depth chart on most teams, but on most teams, I think that whoever does get cut in that 7 spot for the Packers probably could be the 3rd best wide receiver on most teams. Not most teams, on some teams, I should say. So I'm with you there, man, for sure. All right, let's go back to the Bill Huber article. We'll wait for some more updates to come in. And let's see what he had to say about the tight end position real quick. Moving on to tight end, he's saying 3 tight ends. All right, Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, and Tyler Davis. So obviously they're saying Tyler Davis, they being Bill Huber from SI.com, is saying Tyler Davis over Ben Sims. Me no like that, Jan, but we know this coaching staff loves Tyler Davis. Jacob, you have the floor, sir.
Well, it's no secret that I have been a critic. I shouldn't even say a critic, but I've been pretty harsh. I've been pretty harsh on Tyler Davis, and there's really no – I used to get mad at him because I thought that he was really bad at being a pass-catching tight end and being somebody that would actually help us, move the chains. I have since learned the error in some of my ways and seen that he's progressed and been more of a well-rounded – kind of trenches tight end, an unsung hero type that maybe is doing things that I didn't necessarily understand at the moment, whether it be in certain blocking concepts and pass protections and running protections and just setting protections, I guess, in general, and being more probably a better communicator with his offensive line. So that bottom line is when he's on the field, it seems like it was a better move having him on the field than maybe somebody else. Now, that being said, I think Ben Sims has been really, really good, and I've really liked is it Joe Wilson or Joel Wilson? I thought that he's looked really impressive. Now, I would argue that I would still try to maybe sneak 3 on this 53 with the hopes of, securing either that 3rd quarterback or a 7th wide receiver, whatever you want to say. And I think we'd have a better opportunity of storing a guy like Ben Sims and like Joel Wilson on the practice squad, just because there's a lot more tape on Tyler Davis. But I think we could probably get away with storing him on the practice squad as well, because I don't see a lot of teams that are looking for a guy coming off a big knee injury that never really did much, so.
Got it.
I think this goes hand in hand with the two running back suggestion that you had talked about, or the possibility of, maybe hanging on to just two running backs. And then I think maybe you look to your tight end room and you stick Ben Sims there right after Tyler Davis and keep 4 tight ends, especially knowing how Tyler Davis is utilized. I think Ben Sims is probably more of a legit threat in the pass game as far as like receiving tight end than Tyler Davis.
Yeah.
Tyler Davis is the sift master and master of the taking out that guy on the edge and running this deceptively complex Matt LaFleur offense. And it's kind of like when we were talking about the quarterback debate, at the top here, we like Sean Clifford because he's been in the system. He's familiar. Ben Sims played a little bit for us last year and we liked what we saw, but Tyler Davis is very familiar with what we do and what we're trying to accomplish with this scheme offensively. And I think that's why he's probably going to be your third tight end. So I hate him if you want, Jacob, but I think he's going to be a Packer this year for sure.
Hey, I now since rescinded my overall hate.
Awesome. Watch him make the Pro Bowl this year. Let's go.
Dude.
How dare you?
All pro.
Unbelievable. CJN says Tyler Davis had a great game last week, but don't we want our third tight end to be more of a blocking tight end? If so, can we honestly say Davis is better than Sims? So the way the tight end position has worked here with Matt LaFleur, I personally, and I could be completely wrong here, I personally believe that he sees Luke Musgrave different from every other tight end in the room. I think
Musgrave stayed on his feet.
The best part of that is Tucker Kraft in the back, all fired up. Hit it one more time, Tim, please. Look in the right.
Musgrave stayed on his feet.
Looks like a little kid over there.
Yeah, he looks like a kid who just got an ice cream cone.
Exactly. So I think he sees Luke Musgrave. Listen, Luke Musgrave can play attached. He can play in that inline true Y. But I think what he wants to do with Musgrave, sprinkle that in with 12 personnel, but he wants to flex him out wide like you've seen in that preseason 1 game, right? I think he wants to do some of that to try to get those mismatches in the box. And really what it does, it does 2 things. When you put your tight end all the way out to the boundary or the wide side of the field along the sideline, essentially what would be the Z position, although it is Y flex or Y wide is what they call it. When you do that, you're doing 2 things. You're getting the defense to declare what defense they're in, for one, because whoever lines up over top of him, if a corner lines up on Luke Musgrave wide, good chance it's zone coverage, okay? And then it's not guaranteed, but it's like the other day it wasn't zone, but what it done was them being in single high man coverage, you're trying to get a tip, is it zone or man, but also single high man coverage, you now force a safety to cover Dontavian Wicks, who was in technically the Z, what most people refer to as the slot, because he was in between the flexed out Y and the true slot, which was Jaden Reed, the speed to 3. So a number of different things you can do there with Musgrave. I think he sees him in more of that role, and he looks at Tucker Kraft, Tyler Davis, Ben Sims, Joe Wilson as more of that true tight end. And again, you can put Musgrave in there. Here's what happens. If you go out in 11 personnel and you put Musgrave on the field and you start flexing him out like that and you start burning the defense, they're going to start treating him like a wide receiver. And when they do, well, guess what happens? When you go to 11 personnel, they may call it 1188, meaning 11 personnel with 88 on the field being Luke Musgrave. Let's treat him like a wide receiver. Let's go to our dime set, or let's go to our dollar look, okay? And when they go to that look, LaFleur, put it on your cute little play sheet. All right, they going dime there now. Next time you march Luke Musgrave out there, if they're going dime, let's attach him. And now what you've got is more DBs than linebackers on the field. Therefore, they're vulnerable in the running game. Now you use him as a blocker, because you may not like Luke Musgrave's ability to block a linebacker, but you love his ability to block a defensive back. So that's a little cat and mouse game that comes into play. I say all that because I think they may be looking at Luke Musgrave as more of the flex guy. Tucker Kraft, Tyler Davis are probably going to need a third if they want to round that, or a fourth if they want to round that out, a third attached top tight end. Again, I'm not saying Musgrave won't play attached. He will all year long. But I think he sees Musgrave as a different tight end than Tucker Kraft, Tyler Davis, Joe Wilson, Ben Sims, if that makes sense. So
His receiving is tough.
it is when you're fat down a shape like me, man. I know that. All right, offensive line, he's got 9. This number seems dangerously low to me every time I see it, but every projection has 9. How do you guys feel about it? He's saying Rasheed Walker, Elton Jenkins, Josh Myers, Jordan Morgan, Zach Tom, Sean Ryan, Jacob Monk, Andre Dillard, and Travis Glover makes the cut. What'd you say?
I made a fart sound, but just didn't come out right. just like this 53 didn't come out right, because you got to get Dillard off of that line, bro. I'm sorry.
See, Jacob, here's the thing. I think it was Brian Bulaga and Mark Tauscher talked the other day on Wildy and Tausch. They felt like Dillard played pretty well. If you go to PFF and look at his grades, it seemed like he played pretty well, with the exception of the penalty that drove his overall grade down. So if you remove that one penalty, different ballgame. I'm just saying, listen, I'm not a huge Dillard fan. I was the guy before the last preseason game going, hey, maybe he is the guy. And then afterwards, I'm like, maybe he isn't. And then when you really step back and go, okay, what did his performance look like truly outside of the penalty? And then you hear 2 former offensive linemen go, yeah, look pretty good.
Yeah, but that's after a career of showing us that he's booty cheeks, and after a whole camp of showing us he's booty cheeks. So are we going to take maybe a flash in the pan for 2 quarters versus all the value of evidence that we have over the last 4 years of his career or whatever? Like, to me, and the fact that I guess maybe I'd feel more comfortable if we had 10 and he made the team over somebody that, but the fact that they took Telfort out to put Dillard in, that I think made me a little more upset than anything. It's just because I've seen with my own, I'm not a scout. I don't know crap, but I thought, in my opinion, that Kadeem has at least showed much more versatility and that he's worth more to the team structurally, just as a whole.
It sure seems like early on in camp they pulled Dillard pretty quick and tried Telford, didn't they? So they may see it that way, man. They might see it that way. There's no doubt about it. Dillard has more natural God-given talent, right, as far as like athleticism, but that doesn't automatically make you a great offensive lineman. So I understand there. So your main qualm is you would rather have Telford than Dillard at this point, right?
Well, yeah, and then is it weird too that you guys all of a sudden, is it just me or has Tenuta just been kind of written off? Is he just
weird? Isn't he? Yeah,
he's just gone from how promising they supposedly, maybe it was just coach speak last year, but they sure were singing high praises of Tenuta. And now this year it's like he gone.
That's a good point. Tim, what do you think about this offensive line here? And again, the reason it worried me, man, let me pull this up real quick just to check back. Didn't we keep 10 last year? We kept 11 last year.
Yeah. And that's why my number was at 10 this year, is I thought they might, given the draft and, everything that we did, that they may lose a lineman, but I didn't think they'd go down to 9. And there's still, again, this is still predictions, right? This is not set in stone. We've got a few days left before we start seeing some cuts, significant cuts. But I will say this. I look at Jordan Morgan, unlimited potential, high ceiling, little banged up, dealing with some injury issues. We can say the same thing about the invaluable Zach Tom as well. And we know as you go through an NFL season, you're going to have guys go down, especially on that offensive line. You're going to have ankles, knees, all kinds of crap happening to guys where they're going to miss a game here or there. That's why I think having at least 10 to provide depth, God forbid you lose 2 linemen. And, right. We don't have to think too far back to watch Packer highlights and look at plug and play linemen and Aaron Rodgers, every play having to roll right or roll left because there's just massive issues on the O-line. So I would think just knowing that a couple of guys are dealing with some nagging issues going into this camp, plus we have the rookie factor, kind of the unknown, how these guys are going to do when they're thrown into the fire. So my suggestion would be 10, and I'm kind of with Jacob here. I'm surprised it wouldn't be Telfort, but I guess we'll see.
Got it. All right, we got a little bit of an update here from Wes Hogwitz out there at joint practices. Looks like they got some drills going on. Kenny Clark, a nice rep against Quinn Minarez. Kobe Wooden looked good, winning a couple snaps. Deslin Alexander won with a spin move versus Frank Crum. And then Jonathan Ford opened with a good power rush versus Wattenberg. It sounded like pretty much everybody in that rep did good, right? Yes?
Yeah, looks good.
That's go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, do you think that there's any truth to the? Did you see the report that Billy Turner was in practice and that he was, quote, open on making a comeback? And
boy, we're getting the full gamut, man. David Bakhtiari's coming back.
I heard Balaga's coming back.
Yeah, man. I mean, Frank Winters, man. I heard he still got it. If we need a center.
Screw it. While we're at it, let's call up Tony Mandrich and see if he's ready to go.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah, the whole Billy Turner thing was kind of odd. It's like, just show up to practice. Hey, guys, I'm still out here if you're looking for somebody. But, yeah, I don't know, man. Didn't he go over to the Jets, too? Didn't the Jets sign him?
Yeah, he was a Jet, also at Denver right before us, too. So maybe they were just trying to,
I never was a Billy Turner fan. I know when we signed him in free agency, I kind of felt like it was not money well spent, but at the same time, I tried to reserve. This before we were podcasting, before the show. I was kind of, as a fan, sitting back on, maybe he'll work out. It did not. It did not work out. So I love the people, too, that we were going, man, the PFF grades are horrible. They're horrible. The PFF doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. He's playing well. Next thing you know, he's on the street. It's like, oh, really? Funny how that worked, It's PFF doesn't know anything until, of course, these guys are out of a job. But we'll keep an eye. Like I said, let me refresh this one more time. If we don't have anything, we'll get back to the article. All right, nothing yet. So let's go back to the Bill Huber article. We're going to jump over to the defensive side of the ball. This is where it's going to get fun. Tim, I know this is your cup of tea right here, my man. Let's see what Bill Huber has to say about the defense and how many we're keeping. Defensive ends, he is saying 5, okay? So he's saying Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Lucas Van Ness, Kingsley Enagbare, and Brenton Cox from his 2.0 version of the 53-man roster projection. Nothing has changed there. Tim, we'll let you have the floor first because I think I know who Jacob's going to talk about on this list. Go ahead, Tim.
Dude, yes, let's go. Yes, I'll take it. Give me these 5 dudes. These are all dogs. I love it. It's really fun to watch. We talk about the leadership in the D-line room really as a whole between guys like Rashawn and Kenny Clark. Preston Smith being the OG, the elder statesman of that group, certainly provides a lot of veteran leadership. But what's really fun to watch is Rashawn Gary kind of stepping. We talked about this last year. He kind of stepped up as a vocal leader. He's always been a lead by example kind of guy, but last year Rashawn kind of stepped up and became that vocal, emotional type leader, and I think we're seeing more of that now. So it's really exciting to see LVN, Enagbare, and Brenton Cox in that group with Rashawn and Preston Smith, and then, kind of by default, Kenny Clark as well. So it's a good balance. I love these guys. They're all dogs. I already know Jacob's going to call them all HMMs. So it's all you, man. Go. Let's hear about your thoughts, Jacob. Why don't you lead with Brenton Cox Jr.?
I mean,
you're looking at the chat. I seen you giggling. You've created a monster in here, Jacob's what you've done.
I couldn't really say it much better than Tim just did, but I have, all joking aside, I have noticed that Rashawn Gary has seemingly taken a much larger vocal role, and I think that he may have been a little bit. I hate using the word triggered because it's such a freaking whatever word, but I think that he got agitated from people maybe saying, hey, once he got paid last year, Gary, I think a lot of it too is we forget he came off major injury recently. Yes. And Kingsley Enagbare has even shown that the doctors are like, bro, you're good. Your knee's good. And he's like, it doesn't feel like I'm, you know what I mean? Because he just, that mental block, whatever, isn't letting him play to his full human meat missile capacity. Now, if all of these guys are all freaking ready to go, if they're all champing at the bit, especially I'm looking at, I think Preston Smith is the epitome of steady Eddie in this league. He has just been good every year, basically, if they're since he was in Washington even. And if he just does what Preston Smith does, if Gary turns into the more of that HMM, if Lucas Van Ness takes that second year jump, and we've already seen it, he seems like he could be a game changer, especially in the third and fourth quarter when we're rotating guys because people are getting gassed. If LVN can go in there and start making plays, same to be said with Kingsley Anibari and Brenton Cox. If Cox can stay slippery and work his way at the end of those games, he's gonna work his way into that rotation. And if the guys are putting him in position where it's 3rd and long, that's where he can shoot that gap and really make a name for himself.
Just the tip, though.
I was pretty clean, guys. I don't know what you're laughing at. I was just talking.
Get your head out of the gutter, right, Jacob? Tell us all that. Professor Cake says, "Oh, nice. I get to listen to y'all while I'm at work in the paint booth spraying some cars." My man, Professor Cake's doing the Lord's work out there. Appreciate
Love it.
Out there on the grind. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So did you get it all out of your system, Jacob? We good?
Yeah. You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
You got the best listeners, I swear, man. All right. Up next, defensive tackle. On the 53, they're saying 5. All right. Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt, Carl Brooks, and Colby Wooden. Looks like the only thing, nothing changed actually. So pretty cut and dry. They see those as the top 5 defensive tackles. Like Jacob killed his camera thinking we still can't hear him laughing over there. So professional. Tim, what do you think about this defensive tackle room here, man? I don't think there's anyone else that you kind of see not making the roster and go, man, they should be in that group too. Because if we look at last year, let me do this real quick just to give us a quick reference. This would be defensive linemen last year. We kept 6 last year, okay? And we kept 6 interior defensive linemen. We kept 6 outside linebackers, which would be defensive ends in this new. So it seems like we've kind of trimmed that down a touch, right? Because we did keep 5. So you're trimming 2 spots here. One from defensive end, one from defensive tackle.
We talked about this possibly being something that might happen going to the 43, right? That there might be a little bit of shuffling and adjustment to who we're keeping. I would definitely say that as far as the only guy I could think of that would be can you go back to last year's list here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jonathan
the only
Ford.
guy that would be a bubble guy for me would be Jonathan Ford. I think Jonathan Ford has had himself a relatively decent camp so far. We actually just saw him on one of those, I think that was a Wes Hockowitz tweet about what's going on right now as we speak. And Jonathan Ford was making some plays. So he might be a guy they have to think about. But I like that group, that 5 right there for sure.
Got it. And really what you're looking at in a 4-3, guys, and I've got some screen grabs I was going to show on the show here soon, but it really hasn't fit any of the show notes that we've had lined up here lately. But we've got a bunch of screenshots of the defensive front that they showed in the first preseason game. Again, very vanilla, but they did play some under, they did play some over. But here's essentially what you've got in a 4-3 front with the defensive tackle specifically. You're going to have a 1 tech and a 3 tech. Now, it doesn't mean they're not going to play that wide double 4 or even a tight front from time to time. But essentially, you've got a guy who's going to play a 1 tech. That's your nose tackle. And you've got a guy who's going to play a 3 tech, which is more of a pass rushing interior defensive tackle. Now, here's the beautiful thing. Kenny Clark can play both that 1 and that 3, right? So that's very, very valuable if you get into a pinch. TJ Slayton is more of that 1 tech, all right? Devontae Wyatt, more of the 3 tech. Carl Brooks, more of the 3 tech. Colby Wooden, in my opinion, more of the 3 tech. It doesn't mean those guys won't be asked to play 1. Devontae Wyatt being a former first-round pick, he better be able to play 1 tech in a pinch, right? But in an ideal scenario, you would want in your base 4-3, Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton, Kenny being your 3, TJ being your 1, okay? Playing nose. In your nickel set, Kenny Clark being your 3, or probably being your 1 tech, Devontae Wyatt being your 3 tech. And then you've got a heavy rotation of those other guys coming in. So when you mention Jonathan Ford, Tim, I'm with you. It sounds like he's had a pretty decent camp, but I think no one is worried about him getting snatched up off the practice squad. But what you have there is your 3rd string 1 tech is essentially what you've got with Jonathan Ford. It's a nice piece to have. If Kenny, TJ Slayton gets banged up, then you activate Jonathan Ford up, especially if it's a run-heavy team. Now, if you're playing someone who's just pass-happy, they very seldom go to a base, a 12 or a 21 personnel, then you'll probably just leave Jonathan Ford on the practice squad, not waste one of those one of 3 activations. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely,
kind of how I see it there. So, all right, let's see here. Prince in the chat said 50-50 if Ford clears waivers. If some team has defensive tackle injuries, would welcome him to the practice squad. No problem. There you go. All right, appreciate it, Prince. All right, let's move along here, and then I'll comb through Twitter. We'll get your all's take here. Linebackers, 5. Last year, once again, if we reference last year's final 53, this would be your inside linebacker position. We kept 5 last year. They're saying we're going to keep 5 this year. These 5 that they've got listed: Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, Eric Wilson, Edgerrin Cooper, and Tyron Hopper. No changes happened according to Bill Huber in his previous 53-man roster. What do you think, Jacob? You like those 5 there? Is there anybody you felt like got snubbed, or is there one of these guys that you say, you know what, I think we could just roll with 4? What do you think?
No, I definitely want to keep them. Which 5 would be, preferably I would pick these 5. If, again, there's any sort of injury, which we've already seen that both Cooper and Hopper have kind of been here or there with a little bit of injury issues. I've personally liked really what Christian Welch has looked like. I was going to say, he just looks impressive. He reminds me of that old school kind of Urlacher type of just a big beefcake back there.
Yeah.
Not like a human meat missile, just more of like a beef missile. He's more of like that slow doddering, we'll wait until you make the first move. But he just reminds me more of like kind of an old school, like an AJ Hawk type.
There you go. I was thinking AJ Hawk. Yeah.
Yeah. Like not crazy impressive athletically, just really fundamentally sound, but has enough athleticism where every now and then you're like, dang. Okay.
And he's got the hit stick factor too, man. He lowers the boom. Yeah.
He throws the wood. So that would be one of the only ones I could see there. But I in general, I love our star. I never thought that we could take Cooper and Hopper and I'd be so jazzed on them right away. And then after everything's said and done going into the season, I'd be okay if there are backups. Yeah. Does that make sense? Because I really do trust McDuffie and I trust Wilson the more I see him. And again, every time I see that guy, Wilson, he is so ripped, dude. He's got to have like 4% body fat. It's just insane. He is so freaking ripped.
I've got 4% muscle. He's got 4% body fat. He is. He's thicker than a bowl of oatmeal, no doubt about it.
Oh, by the way, can we just real quick hit the like and share, guys? We got, for some reason, 550 plus people watching.
I love how you said for some reason. I have no clue. You people have no life, but we appreciate you supporting the show. This show sucks, and we know it. Quick update. Wes Hodgewich just tweeted out, Bullard is safety with McKinney. So there you go.
Well, who's in the slot, Wes? Tell us who's in the slot.
Exactly. Wesley. So, I mean, really what it tells you is Bullard has that safety spot kind of sewed up, at least in your base, right? Now, he didn't specify nickel. I imagine that was probably a base look. That's probably how they're kind of getting things cranked up. We'll see, though. I'll keep my ear to there. Tim, what do you think about these linebackers, big dog?
I got to step away for a second. I got a contractor here. But I will tell you this. If you would have told me before the draft we'd have Edgerrin Cooper and Tyron Hopper on this team, I wouldn't have believed you. I'm happy they're here. We've upgraded at linebacker. I'll be right back.
Tell the contractor we said hello, Tim. Don't be gouging us on the price, contractor.
He's building a school for ants. Build it bigger. That's what he's going to say.
Yeah, he got so mad over that model, didn't he?
What is this? How are they going to learn to read if they can't fit in the building?
It's a school for ants. All right, next position. Cornerbacks. We told you guys this show sucks just a few minutes ago. You didn't believe us. So. Corners, Bill Huber. Why does it keep resetting? Okay, there we go. And they're really trying to sell that Bronco. Is that a Bronco?
I don't know. It doesn't look
at that crab walk right there. Yeah. I've needed that a time or 12, right? Unbelievable. Okay, cornerbacks on the 53, Bill Huber. No changes this week. Jair Alexander, he's keeping 6, okay? Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes, Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, Kalen King, and Corey Ballantyne. The thing that sticks out to me right there, Jacob, looks like they've got Kalen King ahead of Corey Ballantyne too. That seems like he's really getting noticed, man. But you guys know I'm a big Ballantyne. The thought of Corey Ballantyne being our 6th best corner on this team makes me happy, Jacob, because you guys know how I feel about Valentine. But what do you think about those 6, man?
Yeah, man. Bill Huber has done a really great way of, or shown us a great way of how to keep certain positions where I did not think that we'd be able to keep all these DBs. We'll see what he has in store for us with the safety group, but I kind of can guess. But as far as keeping the 6 cornerbacks, I think that this is absolutely brilliant, because obviously we know what we have in Jair. We know hopefully what we have in Stokes, where that's going to be a big question mark there, but that's a 1-year basically prove it deal. Nixon is one where I think I think it's a little bit split. The two, I will say this real quick, just as a quick aside, the 2 things that have shook me or made me upset or disgruntled me, I guess, just because everything's been so positive, the vibes have been so good, was the Keyshawn Nixon 2 interviews and then the AJ Dillon interview. So like those are the 2 interviews that just have, for whatever reason, created a little bit of riff, created some drama. So Nixon, I'm well on board with saying that I still think we maybe overpaid him. I will wait to see and come out with an actual opinion after the season is at least midway through, because if he is that great in the return game, then I think it's worth the money. I will say I don't think he's the answer at nickel, and I think him being so confident that he is a detriment to the team. I think that you could plug in multiple people before him that are younger than him, that are getting paid way less than him to be the starting slot. Now, hopefully he proves me wrong. And after that, all I'll say is that I'm super pumped about Valentine. Listen to this. The back end of our freaking cornerback group is Carrington Valentine, Kalen King, and Corey Valentine. That's pretty cool to me.
Yeah, that's strong. That's strong medicine right there, dude. Let's go to Wes Hokowitz. We got a bunch of updates rolling in now. Really good stuff. Let's see what we got. So obviously we mentioned Bullard is safety with McKinney. Next, and you got to go from the bottom up. Preston and Gary combined for a sack of Knicks on 4th offensive snap. Couldn't tell who would have gotten there first. So Gary and Preston Smith continuing to beat the tackles on the edge. And again, it's nice to see another team struggling with this, Jacob, because obviously our offense has struggled to block these guys, the whole defensive front as a whole. And it's kind of the whole chicken before the egg conversation. People, is the offense bad? Is the defense good? You're seeing them do it, albeit against Denver, not a great team last year, but they have made some adjustments this year. That's nice to see right there, man. That's what 2 premier positions, right? Tier 1 of importance, edge defense. So pretty cool. Next, he says Clark beats, and someone in the chat had said they think it's pronounced Miners.
It's Miners.
Miners. Yeah. Okay. Thank y'all for clearing that up for this dumb redneck right here. Wes Hockwitz says Kenny Clark beats Miners for what would have been a tackle for a loss on a run. So Kenny coming out playing the run real strong there. This is what I want to see, Jacob. LVN in the backfield on the rush versus Stidham. Possible sack. Stidham hits Humphrey with King in the slot. So you're seeing King in the slot early in joint practice. So,
and you're seeing that we're living in the backfield, whether it be the pass rush or the run defense. And then when they finally do get off the ball, even though it should have been a sack, our guys are still there in coverage. Man, this is I don't want to, again, pump the brakes. Everybody just be cool. But it sounds like that this defense is continuing to evolve into like, even if it's, a top 5, I dare say top 3, but who knows?
Yeah. Dennis Shook in the chat said, as reliable as Preston has been his entire career, he is going to shock people this year. Like he said, he's never gotten an opportunity to play in a 4-3 defense. He's always been in a 34. And you've always got to you've got a lot of edge, setting the edge responsibilities, kind of that contain responsibility. And from time to time, you have to drop into coverage. There's going to be a lot less of that. Preston's liable to blow up. Here's what's cool. You were just talking about Keyshawn. You were talking about, who was the other guy that kind of, Dylan, that kind of, ticked you off a little bit with the media comments. Preston Smith has done nothing but take pay cuts, be a good teammate, and keep his mouth shut and just work, right? Like that dude is he is what you want in a Green Bay Packer, right?
Yeah, he's a lunch bill guy. He reminds me of like Aaron Campman type, where he just comes to work. He's excited to be here. He understands that, a lot of guys, I think, take for granted the environment that they work in at Green Bay. And when they go other places, I think they realize, holy crap, other teams don't focus much about maybe the family or the community or taking care of their players off the field versus I know what the Green Bay Packers do as far as making sure that the families are engaged, that the community is engaging with them, and that their mental health is good, and that, everything that they could ever worry or ever think to worry about is covered basically by the organization. And I think that comes through, man. It shows through completely with, you can't tell me that doesn't affect performance and your on-field play.
Yeah, definitely, man. Another update here from Wes Hockwitz. Kingsley Enagbare would have had a sack on the last snap on second run through for the number 1. So now Kingsley Enagbare getting involved here with the sack party at the joint practice. So this defensive front, again, they seem very, very legit. Really excited to see them put it together this year. Professor Cake says Preston is basically a lock for 8+ sacks a year. That's super valuable. And he is pretty decent in coverage when he is not lined up against Justin Jefferson. The other thing, too, that he's very underrated in, Professor Cakes, is his run defense. Preston does a great job playing around. He's got it sounds so silly, Jacob. It sounds simple, but wingspan against the run is absolutely huge. LVN's got it, too. Man, let me tell you. So, good stuff there. All right.
What's weird, too, is that he seems a little bit – and this is not a criticism of him. It's because of his massive arm length. Like, he does seem like he takes a little bit of time to get going off the edge, but once he does have that head of steam, he's very violent. Like, it's hard. He doesn't miss a lot of tackles. When I picture him coming off the edge and like bearing down on a quarterback, it's pretty much like once he gets you in his grips, you're kind of screwed. But I also see that too with the run defense, like you just talked about. He seems to kind of methodically work his way, and he's very good at just kind of flowing and shedding and working. And I hope that this year maybe that shows off a little bit more, like you talked about. He doesn't have as many responsibilities in his head from the start of the snap, whereas he can just maybe play a more free type of football. What if we see Preston? Absolutely. I mean, dude, he's one of multiple players that if he just takes even a minor step, but a decent step, that could make all the difference for this defense.
Absolutely, man. No doubt about it. I just like the way he carries himself. It's one of those team guys. Go ahead, read it, Jake.
Professor Cake says Preston has them long garbage scooping arms. Great for getting contained on the edge. Oh, yeah.
For tackling those trash players in Chicago, right? That's what he did by garbage. All right, moving on to the safety position. Bill Huber has them keeping 5, Jacob. On the 53, Xavier McKinney, Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, Anthony Johnson, and Katan Oladapo. That sounds like a pretty solid set 5 there. If we go back to last year, let's see, final 53 last year, we kept 5. Check this out. Who would you rather have? I'm going to give you 2 names. Who would you rather have? Darnell Savage or Xavier McKinney? I love to laugh. Right? Now, check this out. So we would all say Xavier McKinney. Who would you rather have? Rudy Ford or Javon Bullard?
Oh, wait, I got to be careful. That's your guy. Hold on.
Hey, watch it. But, hey, listen. President of the Rudy Ford fan club, signed by the Carolina Panthers. I'm buying a jersey. Just kidding. I'm not buying a jersey, but I'm rooting the guy on. I would love Javon Bullard over Rudy Ford. Thank you very much. You agree, Jacob?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one would you rather have, Jonathan Owens or Evan Williams? Get my drift here. This is wild to think about. Which one would you rather have, Dallin Levitt or Anthony Johnson Jr.?
Wow.
Yeah. And then the final one, of course, which one would you rather have, Anthony Johnson Jr. at the very back end of the roster or a new Katan Oladapo? You know what I'm saying? Like this safety room has been completely remodeled. And that's why I know somewhere Joe Barry is really pissed off. Like, why didn't y'all do this when I was there? I'm just telling you.
But to be fair, anyway, if you guys remember, the big knock for years and years and years is they only draft defense on one. So and we had the most number 1 picks on a starting defense for multiple years in a row. So I think that argument is a little bit lacking. You know what I mean? Whatever reason, people are playing, and they're playing with their hair on fire inspired for Halfley. And I just don't think that for whatever reason, Barry got the same oomph out of him,
Yeah. Tim, what do you think of this safety room, man? It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, remodel is a great way of of putting it, and when you remodel, you got to bust it out to the studs, right? Make sure you check everything, get everything put together correctly. And that's basically,
Tim, I think they bulldozed the whole foundation.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Those studs weren't even weight bearing, bro. They just knocked them suckers out and said, nah.
The fact that Anthony Johnson Jr. is in the mix here is a testament to, what he's done these last couple of years. Yeah. He was kind of a question mark last year, but I thought he played pretty well for a rookie. And the fact that he's kind of still in the mix with this group says a lot about him, because it's pretty good company there, right? I love it. I think that is going to be the thing that really gets us over the hump, combined with the fact that it looks like we got a run D now as well. So if we're solid up front, in the middle, and on the back end, that's that recipe for that top 5 defense that we're striving for. So I love this safety room.
Definitely. Guys, we just cracked 600 viewers. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. If you would take a quick second, hit that like button. Every time you hit the like button, it's going to boost that algorithm for other people who are just randomly scrolling on YouTube and go, somebody's covering the practice today. So appreciate y'all supporting the show, man. This is a lot of fun. Dennis in the chat says, Andy German, that's how you say it, right? Am I thinking right, guys?
German. I think he meant Andy.
I think it's actually got an I in there. Anyway, it don't matter. Say this safety room might be the biggest improvement by. Oh, he's saying Andy Herman. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Andy Herman says the safety room might be the biggest improvement by any position group in the NFL this year. I can't disagree with it, man. They completely revamped it. And like you said, Tim, the fact that the last person standing was Anthony Johnson Jr. says a lot. It would have been real easy to go, he's a 7th-round pick. Let's just move on. Yep. So he definitely impressed somebody there for sure.
You know what's crazy is that I used to get a lot of crap from Mr. Ryan Schlipp up until about 3 years ago, because I said, Ryan, I love the 6th-round guys, the 7th-round guys, the UDFAs, but specifically the 7th-rounders, just because there was something like nostalgic about, making it to that 7th round. And he always used to say,
not everybody's a Donald Driver.
You're not going to get him. And now he tells me that I've been listening to him, and think about just the success. Mr. Rasheed Walker, Mr. Anthony Johnson Jr., Mr. Michael Pratt, Mr. Kalen King, Michael Pratt, Rasheed Walker, and whatever the heck else I just forgot. But those are 4, maybe 4 potential starters that are like not just passable, that they've been actually and potentially will be very, very impactful starters. I think it's amazing. I think it's a testament to show again how great Goody has been drafting, and to our scouts, dude. Like, that's crazy. That's really crazy.
No doubt about it. All right, let's go back to Wes Hockewitz's coverage of the joint practice here today, and we got a couple more updates. If I can get that drop, there we go. All right. So the last one we covered was Enigbare would have had a sack, right? Kenny Clark has had a nice practice this far. Districts run. Not sure what he meant by that.
Disrupts run, maybe.
Yeah, probably disrupts run. And listen, guys, I know it's easy. Oh, they misspelled that.
No, Wes is out there trying to get all this out.
And he's trying to get it out in real time. So, man, like I said, he's out there being a hero today. We appreciate it. Gary gets the tackle for the loss. So Kenny Clark having a great practice against the ones in Denver. And then obviously Rashawn Gary continues to flash there. He had a combined sack earlier with Preston Smith, and now he's getting a tackle for a loss. Boys, I'm telling you, Rashawn Gary, he is poised to bust out with this new defense. It's going to be really, really exciting there.
I like seeing that one above there, Tyron Hopper back in the team drills.
Yeah.
This is good, especially with Edrin Cooper being, kind of sidelined here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's see what else we got here. Stidham floats pass into McLaughlin on a wheel, but Wyatt nearly ran directly into Stidham, got a big push on the inside rush. So Devontae Wyatt putting some pressure on the quarterback from the interior. Love to see that. Jake Shavink in the chat says Spofford has Jacobs with 6 touches so far, Wicks with 3 catches. Let's go. So let's hop over. It seems like Wes Hockwitz is hitting mostly defense. You guys talk for a second. Let me see if I can pull up Mike Spofford so we can get some offense updates here.
Yeah, it's weird. I just had to put somebody in timeout that was named Mask Collector. sounds weird.
What did they
Clearly
do?
wearing a Broncos jersey, and he would just all he kept saying was Bo Nix is cooking. Bo Nix is cooking.
It's funny. We haven't seen that yet.
I haven't seen that. Is he cooking meth? What's he cooking? I don't know what's going on, man. So if it's on the football field, I have yet to see it. So, but man,
We'll just call that post Rocky Mountain High.
There you go.
There you go. Hey, that was
Missed
very
it,
well
man.
said, Tim.
Missed
Let's
it,
see if Spofford's got anything. All right, let's go to Spofford's Twitter handle here. All right, here we go. First round 11 on 11s for the Packers. Offense saw 2 good runs by Jacobs and completion to Wicks on the sideline after Jacobs stuffed at the line. Free play on a hard count. Jordan Love out there getting on the jump again, boys. Leads to a deep shot to Watson, but just a bit out of reach. All right, next he said Musgrave gets open space on a crosser for a nice gain. Dobbs and Surtain fight for a contested ball that's incomplete. Play action deep shot for Watson. Draws the flag in the D as Watson was grabbed. Okay, hopefully he wasn't grabbed in the D. I'm not sure what the in the D was there, but he did draw a flag. Christian Watson going deep. So that's an element to the game that not many people really talk about, is when you got someone who can stretch the field vertically like that, good things happen, man. Good things always tend to happen. You can draw a flag. It's just as good as completing the play for sure. Mike Spofford tweeted out, Musgrave gets open space on a crosser for a nice gain. Dobbs and Surtain fight for the contested ball. Did we just hit that? We did. Okay. Dillon gets a carry with the 2s and then another with the 1s. Wilson gets 1 with the 2s and 2 with the 3s. Nice completion from Clifford to Stanley with the 2s. So Stanley continuing to cook a little bit. Looks like Clifford's showing up there as well. Let's key in on that running back position here, guys. Dillon gets a carry with the 2s and then another with the 1s. So Wilson gets 1 with the 2s and 2 with the 3s. So they're, according to these reps here, they definitely still see Emmanuel Wilson as the number 3 running back and Dillon as the 2. Is that how you're reading that, Jacob?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
We don't have to be happy about it, but that's how we're seeing it, right?
No, and again, I'm not rooting against the guy. It's just I don't know what else you have to do if you're Emmanuel Wilson to surpass that. I mean, I think maybe we'll see it in this week 2 of the preseason, because I think, Jake Shavink says we got ourselves a scuffle.
Matt Schneidman will be the one to have a video. You guys talk. I'm going to go comb through his Twitter. He's always got the scoop in his stuff.
Well, and that'll be interesting.
Yeah, our guys better wake up with their piss hot, like I said before. So.
Sure enough, he's the one who tweeted it out. He says, we have our first mini. I knew he would be in it, man. He's in the dirty laundry all the time. We have our first mini scuffle with Adam Stenovich and Matt LaFleur caught in the middle.
What?
Nick Bonito. Oh, here we go. Nick Bonito hit Love's arm as he threw. Ball popped up, and Singleton picked it off. Packers weren't happy that their quarterback was touched.
Wait a minute. Is he not wearing a red jersey? That's why there's a fight. You don't touch our QB1. Are you out of your mind?
Can't touch his arm. Jeepers, creepers.
Jacob, what are they doing out here, man? And Matt LaFleur, hopefully Matt LaFleur didn't get too involved, right?
Dad says save the eyebrows.
I'll tell you this. You can't even
I love that our coaches are in the middle going to war for their players. I love it.
Everybody likes to talk bad about Stenovich and, this and that. That man right there, listen, that boy, he's a big old boy, and he's played offensive line. He ain't afraid to throw some hands. I'll tell you this, too. You won't see the eyebrows. When he pulls that bandana down a little bit further, you don't want to see that guy at the 50-yard line on our practice field. I promise you that. Look at Tupac.
Shout out Tupac LaFleur right there.
All right.
Yeah. Not 1, but 2.
Three lung darts.
3 lung darts. Thug life.
You always got to have one in reserve there behind the ear. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Prince in the chat. Steno going to have to smack a biatch.
Adam smack a biatch.
I love it. All right. First mini scuffle, blah, blah, blah. Popped. Okay. So I think we're up to date there. Let's see if cooler heads are up. There's going to be a video. I'm going to comb through Twitter and find that video. But this is really exciting here. The other tweet that Mike Spofford had, Jacob Monk getting some work at right guard with the 1s.
Nice.
Jacobs with 6 touches, Wicks 3 catches and 15 snaps by the Packers. Number 1 unit. so far.
So remember how we talked about how Wicks isn't getting any looks with the ones, and all of a sudden now we're showcasing him against. All right,
I swear, I think he's got a legitimate shot to emerge as like even that receiver that's on the field in 12 personnel. I'm telling you, man, to think that someone might be good enough that you have to take Romeo Doubs or a healthy Christian Watson off the field just to get him more snaps really says a lot. What do y'all think about Jacob Monk at right guard with the ones? Though that's exciting, right?
Yes.
All right, well, expound upon that a little bit.
I think it's exciting in the sense. It's exciting in the sense that we know Zach Tom can play everywhere else. So if we've got another option on the right side of that line, whether it's guard or tackle, I like that. I really do.
Yeah, the only reason I froze there is because I had a subject I wanted to talk about, and then I just wanted to bookmark it. So remind me once we move on from this. Jacob Monk, though, I have thought needs to. But he's the one that I see the most potential of just having that raw talent. And he seems to have such a great personality. He seems so excited to work the crowd at the beginning of practice. He seems like apparently kind of a psycho. They talked about how he was before pregame season 1, how they're like, yo, what is Jacob Monk doing? Like he was apparently,
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
He was going bonkers, apparently, just getting jacked up, trying to jack people up. That is the guy I want to play with 100%. He just seems like a super good dude too. And he is like an ogre. If you're, that's the most I could, he's an ogre human being. And I just
thick.
Yes. Yeah. Once he just figures out how to, he's a beef biscuit man. That's one of those beef biscuits. He's going to just sit there once he figures out how to use all that meat.
Wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
What a drop, Tim. I'm trying to hold it together. All I hear is the bot they say, wash your hands, wash your butt. Jacob, you got to stop this, man. Mike Spofford said, "Love." Here's his. We're hearing everyone's version of this huge fight. Okay, Mike Spofford says Love gets his arm hit and a flutter ball is picked off. Some tempers flare due to the quarterback contact, and both sides gather, yelling a lot. Sounds like one of my family reunions. Quickly disperse though. All right, so nothing to see here. Then he goes on to say, under pressure, Love lofts a throwback screen to Jacobs. Would have been interesting to see how well that would have worked. If he gets the throw off in time, potential big play. So still looking for a video. If anyone finds a video of the fight, DM me on Twitter at Packers_access, and we'll pull it up and see what happened. But man, it's a lot of fun covering practice, boys. Let's see here. Wooden just got a pass deflection at the line. It was Wes Hodkiewicz that tweeted that out. So what do you guys think about Kobe Wooden? Like, Carl Brooks quickly passed him up on the depth chart last year, and he's kind of, I don't want to say he's an afterthought, but he is he's probably last in line on that interior defensive line as far as the depth chart goes. But that dude showed some promise last year as a rookie, didn't he?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think so. But like you said, I mean, you're at the mercy of who else is, making their ascent up the depth chart. And do we have Huber's 53 article still?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who he picked for that group. Because, I know we like that lineup, and, this is not, anything final, but I mean, looking at this, I don't know, so he does, he's got Colby Wooden as your last. So, that could be accurate. It could go the other way too. There's a lot of up and comers, on the defensive side of the football. But I think, like you said, Clayton, it's all a matter of what we're trying to do in this 43 and who's the best for the techniques that these guys are going to be playing. So I don't know. I definitely think he'll be on the team, but I would anticipate guys like Carl Brooks and Devontae Wyatt to continue to grow and improve, which is going to be, make it difficult for a guy like Colby Wooden to keep chasing those roster spots. But, hopefully he does make this team this year.
Got it. Good stuff. Let's see here. Let's go to Matt Schneidman. He's been bringing a couple of different angles from some tweets here. If you guys would, guys and gals, please hit that like button for us. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. We got almost 700 watching. Channel is just growing like crazy because y'all just keep hitting that like, keep sharing it. and we really, really appreciate it. So after the scuffle, it says Matt Schneidman said that's at least 3 false starts for the Packers today. Believe 2 were from the backups. So only 1 with the starters, 2 false starts from the backups. Matt Schneidman had reposted Nick Kosmider's tweet. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Second team period began with Rashawn Gary wrecking things for the Broncos offense, but Denver threw punches back. Knicks with a big 3rd and long completion to Sutton. Stidham with a pretty over-the-shoulder ball to Jaleel
McLaughlin.
Jaleel, okay. Yeah. Down the sideline, Wilson hit Kroll deep up the seam. Okay, so there you see Denver kind of fighting back just a touch. Someone had asked, most importantly, is Love okay? And Matt Schneidman confirmed Love did stay in. So nothing to worry about there. It's just, again, man, when you hear in a red jersey practice, quarterback getting arm hit, what the hell are we doing?
I mean, I know they got the good devil's lettuce out there, but come on, man. You got to know you don't touch the dude with the red jersey on, man. Come on.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. Just combing through here again. Anything else you guys want to hit on, man, while I comb through Twitter and try to get some more updates here?
Oh, boy. Tim, what were you thinking? Prince was talking about how with Kobe Wooden adding bulk should help him hold up at DT. I know that they were talking again about him maybe splitting out at D end. I think that's crazy how versatile this D line. We talked about how we can shave off certain spots at that 53-man roster. But the thing is that the defensive line in general is so well versed because we've seen we can move Preston inside. We can move LVN inside. You can take Carl Brooks and move him anywhere, as he played at, was it Bowling Green? He played everywhere. You can take Kobe Wooden and move him around. You can take, I'd say basically Devontae Wyatt, so athletic you could put him at edge or / defensive end. Isn't that kind of a great problem to have? But at the same time, you don't quite know where these guys stack up. Like, where does a guy like Jonathan Ford even fit into that group if we absolutely need him? That's the only reason I see him not making that team. And it's nothing against Jonathan Ford. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I said, like, he's probably a bubble guy. You look at Kenny and TJ Slayton, you kind of know where they're going to be, though, right? Those guys are kind of, they've kind of got their roles solidified, at least positionally. But
I forgot about Slayton for all that.
And that's a big fella right there. So, if Kobe Wooden's going to, trim up a little bit and get a little leaner and maybe lean on that versatility, TJ is going to always be that big dog in the middle. So, it's just, this is what we talk about. This is that time of year. We got to see it. I can't wait till Sunday night. We've got a game coming up the following week against the Ravens. For all these people out here that think preseason is, it's preseason, it doesn't matter. It's like, I implore you to pay attention, because this is where champions are made, right here. And you're seeing it with this Packers team early on.
Yeah. Michael Lombardi said it best. He said, if you're following anyone on Twitter and they say preseason doesn't matter, he said, unfollow them immediately. That is as casual a fan as you're going to find, because I'm telling you, man, there is work going on. You just got to know where to look. That's for sure. I love this tweet by Matt Schneidman. He actually quote tweeted Diana Rossini with ESPN, who found Matt Schneidman. Matt Schneidman went quiet just a few minutes ago. Found him over in the corner eating some pizza. He says, trash move by me, I know, but I'm not hungry anymore, so I'm happy. So,
long as you didn't pick it out of the trash, Matt. I mean, got it wrapped in foil. I don't know.
You pull a Costanza. It was sitting on the top.
Exactly. We get another Twitter follow here. Nick Kosmider. I know I'm butchering the name. I apologize. But pretty cool tweet here. Actually, let me go back. I apologize. Said some notes. Actually, we do have to click on it. This is from Matt Schneidman earlier, okay? So he said some notes on from first 11-on-11 period. Jacobs probably would have had a big run up the right side on the second play. Love hits Wicks for a nice gain up the right side for the first pass. Clifford, big completion to Heath, wiped out by a false start. Love hit Musgrave wide open on a crosser. There we go. We got some Luke Musgrave going on. Dude. Michael Pratt short hops a throw to wide open Bo Melton. Who said Michael Pratt was so good? It wasn't me, was it? Surtain, great pass breakup versus Dobbs on the comebacker. Bomb from Love to Watson, incomplete, but Riley Moss got flagged. Jacob Monk held Tyler Davis back from starting a scuffle. Jacob Monk Jacob Monk being a veteran as a rookie. Hey, we talked about it. Multi-year starter, multi-year captain at Duke, right? Probably already seen it. A couple Packers runners got, quote, popped as well. So there you go. That was that update that luckily Nick Postmeyer tweeted out. Let's see if he's got any other updates up to this point. I think that's all right there. Well, here's one earlier about 10 minutes ago. Second team period began with second team period. This wasn't the second team, but the team period after the first team period. Okay, does that make sense? With Rashawn Gary wrecking things for the Broncos offense. So there's Rashawn Gary again showing up. So there you go. That's the latest at practice. Let me see if we can find any other updates real quick. We're now at over 730 people watching live. Y'all are awesome.
We got Paula in the chat saying Peyton Manning here at practice. Wondering if maybe Paula's out there.
My bet is she spotted him by his forehead.
So wait,
what the hell's wrong with you, Jacob? What is your problem?
He's got a big head, man.
I'm gonna put you in timeout. Unbelievable. He does have a big head. He'll be the person. If you don't believe him, if you don't believe Jacob that Peyton Manning has a big head, ask Eli because he talks about it all the time.
They're just shooting B-roll for Hard Knocks, getting Denver ready for Hard Knocks.
Oh no! Keep in mind too, though, Omaha Productions. Remember they announced earlier this year they're doing some kind of documentary on the Green Bay Packers right now, right? So
there you go. Maybe that's what it is.
Could be. But Peyton is also.
We'll definitely get film on the scuffle after Jay Love got hit when he was throwing. So maybe that'll make the documentary.
If I remember correctly, too, though, Peyton Manning is actually part owner of the Denver Broncos, too. So he does have a chunk of ownership out there. So,
yeah, I think so, too.
Probably a little bit of that going on, too. Let's see what else we got. Zane Anderson and Evan Williams rotating as personal protector. So they're both rotating as PP. Evan Williams being PP makes a lot of sense. Physical, very quick, a lot of natural instinct. For those of you who don't know, personal protector is basically the guy who lines up offset directly in front of the punter. So he's kind of the last line of defense for the punter. If you don't think that's important, go back and watch the 49ers playoff game in the snow at Lambeau when they got the punt blocked for the touchdown. That was the personal protector. So Pac Daddy in the chat, what's up, buddy? He says, did we win the fight? I'm trying to find footage. This is like the Zapruder film, and I think that the government got a hold of it real quick, and we haven't seen it yet.
Rigged.
What that was.
It was a scuffle, not a fight, just a little scuffle.
Like there is literally nothing on this. How did we not? No one was rolling the tape during the
fight. But if you remember,
I think about how chippy it got last year with the Patriots, and we had an all-out brawl before the preseason game following the joint practice, and nobody in that New England Patriots organization laid a finger on Jordan Love. So this is a little different. I wonder what the
Tim's mad as hell. I love it,
man. Don't touch my quarterback. You better leave Jay Money alone. I'll just say this.
How about these hands?
It's going to be interesting to see. I want to keep an eye on pregame on Sunday night here because I tell you, last year was the first time I have ever been at a football game and saw officials throwing flags during warm-ups. I mean, these guys didn't even make it out for starting lineup announcement, and they were going hands-on. So hopefully this doesn't spill over into Sunday night, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does, considering the fact that this is the future of our franchise here, QB1. They're putting hands on them in practice. Come on, man. Can't do that. Unacceptable.
We got a little update, no video footage, but some more details. Matt Schneidman says Matt Orzik just had to be pulled away from starting a scuffle during a punt drill and then snapped it over Daniel Whelan's head out of the back of the end zone the next play.
Yeah. And we just cut Peter Bowden, didn't we?
Listen, if you're going to start a fight, at least make sure you're doing your job first, okay?
Sean Ryan for long snapper.
Jeez, I could do it, dude.
Jacob, I just imagine Jacob out there in that shirt with the hat and everything. Like, come on,
I'll walk up with a lung dart, wearing the single bar. I'd have the single bar helmet. I wouldn't even care.
The single bar helmet. Oh man.
How the hell is your long snapper going to start a fight and then snap it over the punter's head? It's just a bad look.
Hey, we figured it out. Ryan confirmed it. It's deep state cover up.
Deep state cover up. There were too many slanted roofs.
Well, that could be the problem, Ryan. Maybe the roof had a little too much slope for there to be a cameraman out there to catch the fight. That could have been the case. I don't know. We'll see.
There were two cameramen.
Yeah. Again, trying to find footage of the fight. Anyone finds it, DM me. I've actually got a couple DMs here. All right, so let me hop over here. You guys talk for a second. Let me see if
I'm told there was footage from a grassy knoll, but we have not confirmed. We'll figure that out as we go forward here. Yeah, if you guys could real quick, no shameless plug, but if you could like and share would help a lot. For some reason, again, there's like a lot of people watching this. I don't know what the heck you guys are doing today, but I don't know, man. I'm excited as all get out. I know my thoughts would be more on who do you want to see have more time in this next preseason game. It's pretty much been decided that Love is not going to play, from what I have been told by Mr. Matt LaFleur. So who do you want? Do you want a straight split? You want Clifford to get a half and Pratt to get a half? And if so, are you going to go ahead and dictate that as to how you're going to make your decision? Or, in my opinion, what would be smarter is if we have, so let's say, Pratt play, or let's say Clifford play the first. Do you swap every possession? Because I want to see them going against similar competition versus just, if you have Clifford playing the first half, he's basically going against the semi 1s and 2s. And then in the back half, it's going against your 3s and 4s / UDFAs or whatever.
We're going to have time to think about that for a second, Jacob. We've got the play. We don't have the
You found it?
Give a shout out to Jake Shavink, who sent it in direct message. This was tweeted out by @Broncos News 303. Okay. Nick Bonito forces an interception to Alex Singleton. Tempers flared after this, and a fight broke out. So here is, Tim, brace yourself, man. Here is Jordan Love getting absolutely walloped and starting to fight here, okay? Let's get some sound here. I ain't gonna lie, guys. That looked pretty minute, didn't it? Let's see. Let's watch the arm this time. Yeah, he did. He raked the arm, didn't he? Can't do that. Tim, you have the floor. Turn your camera on. I need to see that. I need to see your pissed off face right now, sir. Yeah, you can't rake the arm like that, right? Run bomb, screen, gotcha, all that good stuff, but
yeah,
kind of a bad look raking the arm. I can understand why they got mad. I was trying to see who was the first one out there, but yeah. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate you sending it. And honestly, it didn't sound like much of a fight. They just got out there shoving a little bit. It sounded like a baseball fight. You ever watch a fight in a baseball game?
Oh, dude.
It's hilarious.
Everybody runs out and they're like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? But every now and then there are all those great ones where the guy just flies across and throws like an actual diving haymaker. And I just think like that would be, if anybody in the Packernet crew would be like me or Emilio, would be just the ones that are like, oh, the dive punch.
The baseball that I grew up with was Nolan Ryan putting people in headlocks.
Oh, dude, Nolan Ryan, he'd fight.
You're talking about Nolan Ryan. I stepped away for a minute. What the heck?
Tim, here's the footage. They absolutely killed Jordan Love. Look at this, man.
Man, you better don't touch my quarterback, man. Call Denver police. Denver police respond immediately.
Honestly, they did rake the arm. They raked the arm a little bit. Watch 42 here, right? Little rake of the arm there. You can't do it. Can't do it. Can't have it. Can't have it. All right. What was your question again, Jacob? It sounded well thought out.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Anymore. And that's the kind of content you get here on this channel, folks. Make sure you hit that sub, hit like for us, share it around. Say, hey, listen to these knuckleheads. They have no clue what they're talking about. And yeah, you said something about quarterback, right? You were asking, was it about snaps for quarterback in the game coming up? Was that what it was? Like, how are they going to distribute the
sure,
snaps?
Yeah. I was just wondering, and Tim, actually, I wanted your opinion on this more than anything, just because Clayton. But what would you do? We've got Sean Clifford and obviously Michael Pratt, we've just talked about how we probably expect both of them to make the team, how we hope that both of them make the team. Would you do a 50-50 split? And if so, would you do it so that Clifford gets the first half, Pratt gets the second half? Or if you really want to gauge the kind of depth of here we go. I'm getting some.
Hold that question, Jacob. We've got the fight.
This is why I keep forgetting my question. He's done this now 2 times.
So there's the scuffle. I want to see who's out front. I want to see who's in there mixing up. Let's go full screen here for this, boys. Oh, that helped a lot.
Oh yeah, this looks way better. Yeah.
So who's out there in front? Let's freeze frame it here. I want to know who got in the mix quick. You got Sean Ryan out there, right? Got the belly hanging out.
Yep.
Look, he got the belly hanging out in the front. He's suffering from no acetol. Look at that. What is that about right there? My man. That's a bad look, Sean. Who else is running in there? Look at 17, Michael Pratt coming in and getting the mix.
He got that Hank Hill butt.
He does, man. I think somebody hit him in the ass with a phone book, didn't it? That's not a good look. Got to work on them squats. All right, who else we got?
God dang it, Bobby.
Kind of hard to tell. I like number 2. Number 2 is like, I just need to breathe.
I'm cool.
I'm glad we're seeing this now because
not much of a scuffle, right?
That's not a fight. Stop it. Come on now.
Yeah.
That's not.
Hey, they did say scuffle from what I.
Oh, they did. Okay, good. Okay, so
that's the definition of a scuffle right there.
Yeah. So there you go.
So what I was going to say,
to see here, Jacob, what was your question again?
What I was going to say, Tim, was that what would you do when you're trying to compare the talents of one Sean Clifford and Michael Pratt? Because if you want to break them up into quarters, you want to break them up from from series to series, which to me makes more sense because you want to gauge how they do against similar competition. What were your thoughts?
Absolutely, I would take that approach. Quarter to quarter, or first half, second half is a great. I guess what do they say? The problem with conventional wisdom is it's conventional. So I don't think they necessarily go that route. Maybe that's the framework, a half for each of these guys. But I'm with you. I think it's about the series and the situations. I think if we're you can pretty much call it an automatic almost anywhere on the field. If we're in third and short situation, we're going. I think they're going to want to see what's going on. We know what we have in our punt game. Daniel Whelan is a monster. We don't need to really, he doesn't need extra work out there, I don't think. So I think a lot of going for it on third and even fourth and shorts maybe. But yeah, you want to see these guys. You'd like to ideally get a 2-minute drill from both, but preferably Michael Pratt. I think at this point we saw Sean Clifford last week run the 2-minute pretty well to close out the first half. So I would anticipate, we know for sure the ones aren't going to play, right? That's been confirmed. So, or at least most of the ones aren't going to play. So I would assume that Sean Clifford's your starter. And then we probably see Michael Pratt in the second half would be my guess. But we'll see. But if you're asking my opinion, I'm with you, Jacob. I'd rather, look at the meat and potatoes of what I want to see from my quarterbacks. What kind of situations can I put them in to see how they handle it? That's really what the preseason's about anyway. The final score is irrelevant. It's nice to get a dub, but we're looking at, evaluation and progression are the main 2 things.
Right. And I guess my biggest thing would be if I'm a head coach and I'm looking at my quarterbacks, I don't necessarily want to know what my third string quarterback can do against third and fourth string / guys that won't make the cut team. I want to know what my third string quarterback can do against first / second team players. And if he possibly has just jumped over Clifford being my actual backup. So that's where I would.
That's a great point because they could do the inverse or the reverse of what I just said, and you start Michael Pratt today and throw him out in the fire right away.
That's true.
And then you have Sean Clifford come in later in the ball game because you're a little more familiar with him. It also depends what the Denver Broncos are going to do with their personnel. How many starters are they going to trot out there themselves? So no, I would agree, Jacob. I think you're absolutely right.
All right, we just cracked 800 live viewers. You guys are awesome. Absolutely awesome.
It must have been the Nolan Ryan conversation.
Don't send us over the yet. No, seriously, Packer fans are just unbelievable. The fact that there's over 800 people in here watching live for a practice. We're talking practice, man.
Practice.
Pretty.
To tell you, Pack is back.
I guess we'll go ahead and get ready to wrap this thing up. We've been going for an hour and 42 minutes. Everyone, please take a quick second, hit that like button for us. We're I don't want to say it's record numbers, but man, it's just absolutely awesome. We got this many people in here. Feel free to share it too. We go live daily, sometimes multiple times per day. We're going to be doing pregame shows, postgame shows all season long. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Anything else y'all want to hit on before we wrap up? The tweets have kind of slowed down a bit. I'll kind of make one more sweep through, but anything else y'all want to hit, go ahead, you get the floor.
I think that's probably why it's winding down. If the piss is too hot, so to speak, they're probably going to try and just get out of there before anything boils over. But I think what we saw for the most part were just scuffles and typical, two teams getting together. It's hot out. You got guys trying to make a roster. They're chippy. It is what it is. I'm still glad that I overreacted to them making contact with Jordan's arm there. And seeing the film, it's obviously less intense than we thought, but still don't touch our quarterback. So they're getting that message through. I think the boys are standing up for each other out there, and I love to see it. As long as it doesn't get into anything, we don't want to see helmets being used as, blunt force instruments on the practice field or anything crazy. So as long as they keep the tempers in check, I think this will play out well, really, for both teams, because, again, like I said, this is what this is all about, man. The coaches love the joint practices. I'm sure the players and the Players Association aren't gigantic fans of them, but this is because coaches need to evaluate, and you got to see what it's like when you're looking at a little bit different situations. It's like a road practice. It's unique, and guys are going to fight. Think about it. You've spent weeks since OTAs and the early part of training camp just working out with your teammates. It shakes it up to get a joint practice in there and really allows these coaches to see. I guarantee you one of the things they're looking at is how are young players handling themselves when it does get physical or there's extracurricular after a play. Are you going to fly off the handle, or are you going to keep your composure? That's all a part of, the training camp experience. So it's all good, and can't wait for Sunday night.
Yeah. Jacob, anything else you want to hit on, man?
Man, that's just a great point that Tim made there, is that in a weird way, these joint practices, at first, when I first heard about them a couple of years ago when we started doing them, I thought, these are so stupid. Who are they helping? Then I realized, no, it is definitely, especially when the fact that the offensive coordinators, the coaches are actually telling each other, hey, this is what I'd like to work on this situation. So that way, it's literally like actually helping their playbook, their theory, their offensive progressions. But then also, I think the unsung, I always think about the stuff like the emotional part of the game, the stuff you can't measure with stats or quantifications in certain ways. Like Tim just talked about, the going against another player of an opposite team when you've been going against a guy in the same colors all off season, and maybe even more to the point of, yeah, we know what to expect with like a preseason game that's televised. There's almost more pride of going into a practice where it's kind of closed to the media, where the only people they're going to see if you won or lost are your teammates, and you think really think about that. Like that's more almost important, I'm sure, to these guys in certain ways, where it's like, I want them to know that I can beat this guy in front of me. And it doesn't necessarily have to be because there's cameras on or anything like that. Like, I think that's a certain point of building to that week one of the regular season that you can't script as well as if you're just doing a friendly one-on-one team friendly practice. I think that builds the adversity, builds them building the camaraderie. And dude, I'm excited. I think that the fans are excited. Just the fact that we got just shy of 900 plus people watching is crazy right now on a Friday at noon.
Everybody's supposed to be at work. What the hell is going on out here? I got to hit them with it. I'm sorry. You're supposed to be at work and you're talking Packers football. Vince is going to hit you.
They didn't have Bluetooth earbuds in Coach Lombardi's era, so that's what everyone's still at work. They got us in their ear right now.
J. Cole saying we just may have a touchdown to Musgrave from Love.
Yes, sir. That's what I was just seeing
Who?
here.
Who was that? Jordan Love to who?
Says more red zone after two more Jacobs runs. He's been a workhorse for the Packers today, so Josh Jacobs looking good as far as reps go. McMillan for the Broncos breaks up the throw for Reed at the goal line. Then finally a breakthrough as play action flare pass to Musgrave. That typically means in the flat. finds open space to run to the pylon. So Musgrave
stayed on his feet.
There you go. All right. I've got Mandy blowing my phone up here. I'm in trouble. So we're going to wrap this thing up. Hour 47. We went 47 minutes over. I told her we would go. So I need everyone's thoughts and prayers, please, as I walk downstairs like a whipped puppy. All right. So it is what it is. Anything else, fellas?
Hi, Mandy. Thanks for letting Clayton stay.
Hello. She's going to go. I thought you said it was going to be an hour. My response will be.
True international average of pressure.
That's all I can. So, all right.
Yeah. Are we doing a night show? Are you planning on doing a night show?
No night show for me. I'm going to be at the nephew's high school football game. So senior year, my man, 6'4.5", just looking like an absolute dog out there. We're going to go watch him play ball tonight. So yeah, Clayton walking the green mile. I'm going to walk downstairs. She's going to be like, "Why aren't you ready to leave?" I'm going to say,
"Got a dead man walking here. Dead man."
I'm going to look her right in the eye and say, "I'm tired, boss." That's what I'm going to say. But we'll be back tomorrow for sure. Tomorrow evening, definitely an evening show. And then Sunday is going to be a very busy day. We'll do a morning show. We'll do a pregame show. We'll do a postgame show for whoever is awake late there in the evening. If you guys and gals would hit that like button for us, we greatly, greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're one of those that want to support the stream and join our awesome Patreon community, you can scan that QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to Packer Fan Total Access Live on Patreon, or you can go to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Got some really cool chat rooms set up in there for everyone to talk Packers. Really cool way to get questions right over the air, all that good stuff too. So we appreciate everybody's support. Everybody in the chat today, in the YouTube chat, comments, Rumble, Twitter, y'all were awesome. This was a lot of fun. So we'll see you tomorrow night, definitely 7 p.m.
Those
Central
of you
Time.
listening on the pod,
thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. Listen, no more Packer fights. Stay away from our quarterback. All right, you got it, Jacob. Final word.
Happy as a possum in a dumpster.
Happy as
There
a
you go.
possum
All
in a
right. See ya.
dumpster.
Everybody have a great evening.